Hello, thank you all for coming. This is our first EDI series chat. We have the wonderful Christina Hazboun from Keychange here to chat to us today. Keychange is a wonderful initiative. She's going to tell us all about that, but also a bit more about how she came to be where she is in the industry. And yeah, I'll hand the metaphorical baton over to you, Christina.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you for inviting me to do this presentation and to talk to you about my work. So my name is Christina Hazboun, and I'm the UK project manager for Keychange. And Keychange actually falls under the PRS Foundation. It is a project that has three core partners. PRS Foundation, Reeperbahn Festival in Germany, and then Musikzentrum Ost in Sweden. And I'm about to tell you about the work that we do. I will just maybe tell you a little bit of background about me. So originally Palestinian, and then I moved to London 15 years ago and started off at BBC Media Action. And through there, I moved into the music industries, working with the Arabic-speaking communities. I'm an independent writer, researcher, curator, artist manager, and so within the music industries I wear quite a few hats, which is very handy because you can sort of see the different positionalities that people come from. And on that note, I'm just going to ask, is everyone familiar with what positionality means as a term? Okay, from the faces, I can judge that maybe not. So positionality is our individual experiences depending on the journeys we've had in life, our cultural, ethnic, social, economic backgrounds, and based on that, we each see things differently, and therefore also obviously, if somebody has been working as an artist manager, they will see things in the music industry differently to someone who's a publisher or someone who's an event producer or a sound engineer. So I like to take these little things into consideration. You will sometimes find my writings in Bandcamp because I really like writing for them, and I love their ethos. Yeah, we will leave some time towards the end for questions. So if you feel like asking me any questions, please feel free to do so. I think towards the end it's more organized. And yeah, so without further ado, I will sort of dive into our lovely slides. So if you bear with me. So Keychange. So what is Keychange? I'm not sure if any of you have heard about it. And can I just double check that you are seeing my screen fine? And I can't see you, so I need maybe Louise. Can you tell me, please? All good? Cool.
All good.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to stop this for a bit and bear with me. Cool. I'm going to have to restart it because it has dropped. So once again, here.
We could see them.
Okay, and can you see them now? I think it's stopped.
No, not anymore, no. But I could before. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you heard me or not.
Okay, yeah, but now you can see, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Cool. So, as I said, we started off with three core partners, and we are supported by the Creative Europe program of the European Union, and we have the participant program that takes action to empower talented, underrepresented genders through training, mentoring, network and support, in addition to conferences and showcasing opportunities at 13 partner festivals. The global Keychange movement has created a campaign and a network for gender equality, diversifying and reshaping the music industry to create a more sustainable and stronger community for all genders. And you will hear the term gender diverse quite a lot, by which we mean that we do not go just with the gender binary of men, women, but we also acknowledge the diversity in genders that is around and who need to be included. So we lose talent every day due to many hurdles that we face. One of them is gender, and this needs to be addressed more urgently. And the COVID pandemic has caused a huge, obviously, chaos within the industries. A lot of venues have shut down. Brexit has also influenced things. So yeah, we're trying our best through the means that we have, and we'd love it if you can join us in representing the move towards change. How are we doing the work that we do? So while Keychange is actually quite a complex program. I hear Anna. Yeah. All good. So I think that somebody has their mic on and it might be causing interference.
It's sorted now.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. You will notice I'm very sensitive to sound because I also do a radio program and I collect field recordings. So there is this. It's one of my hobbies, and so yeah, sound is one of those things that are very important for us, and therefore actually I really appreciate your listening, and it does take effort to listen with attention to somebody speaking. So yeah, so we have the program which provides support and development for music artists and innovators with mentoring, training, showcasing, and more. And we have an annual open call for participants from the countries that we work in. I will be talking about them later. And we usually get around 74 participants a year. The program runs for 12 months and they receive the mentorship throughout those 12 months, training, and then showcase opportunities through the festivals with whom we partner. And we have like full network meeting or full participant meeting twice a year where we meet up with everyone because not everyone is able to come to all of the festivals. So this is the program where we get the participants. And by innovators, so they're musical artists who are like singers and performers, but the innovators are music industry professionals who come from different backgrounds. There's sound engineers, there's managers, we've had an amazing participant who has developed this product of portable female and non-binary toilets that is provided to festivals, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, through our program, we can work with a different and a very diverse group of women and gender diverse artists who are bringing on innovation bottoms up. And then another part of our work is the Keychange Pledge, where we invite organizations to sign the pledge in order to achieve at least a 50% representation of women and gender diverse creators and professionals in one or more of their areas. And this pledge is a collaborative work. It doesn't necessarily only encompass us inviting people, but we often get people reaching out to us and asking to sign the pledge because they are aware that there is a problem within the music industry and they want to address it. And so we consult with them and everyone sets their own goals. So the 50% target was based on research that we have conducted, and we're hoping to achieve it, and many of our pledge signatories are achieving it, but obviously every organization, company, and individual's positionality differs, and so we try to work with everyone's abilities. And here you can see a photo of our 2023 cohort. These are our participants who come from different backgrounds and countries, and different genders as well. I'm going to play you now. I hope you can hear and see it. A short video. Cool. So as I mentioned before, we have a network of partners mainly around Europe and Canada. 32 forward-thinking music industry partners in 12 countries, and those countries are listed below. They are Sweden, Spain, France, the UK, Germany, Italy, Norway, Iceland, Ireland, Estonia, Poland, and Canada. And we have recently expanded into the US, and we are hoping to be a global movement. We have 600 plus pledge signatories from 40 plus countries and counting. And we have 222 participants who are advancing their careers through cross-border collaborations and showcases. And through all of that work, we bring together innovative industry content with our partners through the training and collaboration that happens at those festivals and events and meetings that we conduct. Our festival partners, they are 13 partners at the moment, and they are some of the most cutting-edge international festivals and conferences. And they obviously have access to a lot of audiences and music industry professionals, which is great, because the idea is that all of us work together and try to create the change. So our partners are Reeperbahn Festival in Germany, way out west in Sweden. There's also Liverpool Sound City in the UK, Mama Festival in France, Oslo World in Norway, Tallinn Music Week in Estonia, Linecheck in Italy, Ireland Music Week in Ireland, Bime in Spain, Different Sounds in Poland, Iceland Airwaves in Iceland, Mutec Montreal, and Breakout West in Canada. And you can find all of this information online on our website. And we also partner with SACEM and Factor, so SACEM in France and Factor in Canada, to support the festivals and the programming that we do. And here you have a map of the countries that we have partnerships in and hoping to also expand all around. You can find us at some of those festivals. So if you are going to be attending Reeperbahn Festival, give us a shout. The whole team is going to be there. we actually have a special code for PRS members. So because we're really eager to increase the UK representation in at Reeperbahn. So if anyone would like to come or is planning to come to Reeperbahn, please do feel free to reach out. So you may ask, why is this work that we're doing important? The music industry, as actually not just the music industry, the whole work ecosystem has a problem with gender. If we look at Billboard 100 in 22, only 20% of artists were women and gender diverse artists. There's still a large pay gap between men and women, and we don't see enough gender diverse artists on lineups, on playlists, in publications. And to that, I have to add that it's not only gender diverse artists, but also when we look at it more intersectionally, meaning looking at socioeconomic backgrounds and abilities or disability, there's actually not enough representation and access to those whose voices are not heard. So it is important for us to address this problem and try to improve working conditions. So globally, 70% of unpaid work, including childcare, is actually done by women identifying people. And 70% of health and social service providers are actually women. So we need to be conscious of the problem in order for us to actually target it and deal with it. If we look at things that you might be doing or you might be involved in, there's the Music Awards flowchart, for example, that where we can see that labels and publishers have big sort of they have a big ability to move things and shape things because they can see what talent is there, they can push it towards the entry of awards and then towards the judging process, and then push artists forward to the awards in the live music industry. And this is where I feel like calling it industries might actually be slightly more accurate, because there's different streams within it and there's different expertise that is within. There's record labels and artist managers who have access to artists that are emerging, and they can push those through to booking agents, and that work then can be passed on to promoters, and then to festival lineups, and then to the wider society and to audiences. And this helps actually generate more awareness. And also, yeah, when there's a woman on stage, it empowers other women to basically hold the guitar or play or have more of an active role. It just gives live examples of what can be done. The other part of our work that is in addition to the program and the pledge, and you will have space to ask questions, because I am quite aware that it is a bit of a complex project that we have. So we've worked on the manifesto. So Keychange as a movement launched in 2016, 2017, and then we developed the manifesto that we presented at the European Parliament in Brussels. And it celebrates the achievements and ideas and suggestions that came out from the first Keychange project, where we had our participants through our creative labs that we run we had manifesto sessions, and we consulted with the artists and the innovators on what they see is a problem within the music industry and what is needed. And so there's 4 key points or learnings that we share through the manifesto. It is the acknowledgement of the problem and being aware of it, investing, as always, there's always a need for investing financially, emotionally, and materially in creating this change. Then we need to have more research done into what is happening, and also education plays a huge part in educating the next generations, but also ourselves on what is happening and how we can create change. Here we have a photo of Cham Leon, who are one of our Keychange artists, performing at a Reeperbahn festival. And I think it just gives you that visual language when you see people who present themselves differently, as opposed to seeing a normative way of presenting genders and women. So we want to go beyond the gender balance. We recognize that equality goes beyond that, and we want to look at intersectionality wherever possible. Shirley Manson, who is one of our Keychange ambassadors, says that we are doing a great disservice not only to women of all races and socioeconomic backgrounds, but to all genders, culture, and society in general by allowing the status quo to continue. I am proud, she says, to support Keychange and everything it is trying to do. So another part of the work that we do is that we have Keychange ambassadors. And if you go onto our website and look at the tab that says roster, we have, you can look into the ambassadors, and we have great figures from the music industries who are supporting our work and are trying to spread the word about what it means to them and to us to put more women and gender diverse artists to the front. This is a photo from our Keychange pledge report and action plan that was presented at Tallinn Music Week recently. We launched the action plan and the report in February, and they're accessible. I will come to them in a minute. So this brings us to the Keychange pledge and what it actually is. So in 2017, we launched the pledge, and our aim was to achieve a 50-50 representation within the music industries by 2022. We reached out to music festivals and conferences and invited them to take the pledge and to achieve it by last year. And by last year, our 600 signatories had actually managed to achieve the pledges that they took. And those signatories are not just festivals. There's record labels, booking agencies, orchestras, organizations that go beyond just like directly working with performances. But there's also bookers, recording studios, media outlets, and different parts that contribute to the music ecosystem. And halfway through, actually in 2018, we expanded the pledge not to only look at or aim at increasing the representation of women, but also gender diverse artists. And now what we have done this year is that we have tried to make our pledge intersectional, taking into consideration many other avenues of how we can make make this world a better world for us and for everyone around us. So when we reach out to you, or you reach out to us with the to inquire about the pledge, we discuss different points that and actions that you can do. So, for example, festivals can say that they want to book at least 50% women and gender diverse artists in their lineups, and there's always a challenge in terms of who is available and obviously rates and all of that. But that can be flexible, right? The important thing is that the idea is there to increase the representation. When there are conferences and conventions, they can pledge to also ensure that their keynote speakers or presenters and panelists are women and gender diverse people, because it's a matter of shaping tastes as well. So the moment you try something more, you become more acquainted with it, and it doesn't seem too different from what you've experienced before. We also have worked with orchestras, and orchestras can actually pledge to have more composers. Like there's many fewer female or women composers who are commissioned to write music, or the number of players. There's again less women in the industries, and when it comes to senior staff, most key positions and senior positions are actually held by men identifying individuals. So it would be nice to represent society and its mixed makeup. Conservatories can also look at the students, lecturers, the senior staff, the live music programs, and the visiting musicians whom they have. And then agents and publishers and labels can also consider the balance of the artists that they sign. They can make a conscious, or you can make a conscious decision to say, okay, we have this amount of people who are signed up to our roster, but where are the women, or where are the gender diverse artists, or where are the people who come from working class backgrounds, where are the artists who have disabilities? I think it's important for us to address this. Other points relate to venues and concert halls that can look at lineups on the stage, and also in terms of organization, again, staff. There's always a shortage of women and gender diverse people within senior staff members, sound technicians. We very rarely, it is, I mean, there are more women now and gender diverse people, but in technical positions, there are less women that are involved, and it would be good to encourage them, not to feel like they can't do it just because it's too technical. Broadcasters also can look at the pledge to look at the guests that they invite to their shows, who their presenters are, and what music they broadcast, or whose music they broadcast. Publications and those employing editorial staff can apply the Keychange pledge when commissioning writers, editors, and photographers. Intersectionally as well. How many writers do we know who come from different cultural, ethnic, socioeconomic backgrounds, or who are, let's say, blind or deaf? And it's important for us to give opportunity to everyone. Organizations that work with youth groups or education programs can also apply the Keychange pledge. And then we have thought about the intersectional avenues that are really important to address within the music industries. So we can try to be aware of the different gender representation, the socioeconomic backgrounds. I mean, there's very few artists who come from marginalized socioeconomic groups, their access to actually learn music or to perform or to buy equipment to produce music is much less, and this needs to be targeted and addressed. People with disability often get left out. In terms of like hearing, listening, accessing, if anyone has a physical disability or is even neurodivergent, it is much difficult for them to access a lot of things within the music industries. So a lot of things can be done for that. So first thing is on websites. Everyone can think about providing things in large fonts, having an accessible website. When there are events, it's also important to think about, for example, sound. There are certain events that have speakers for people who are hard of hearing, labeling things so that, or events in terms of language, saying that this is an event that is accessible or not. It just helps people decide whether they can come to an event or they can't come to an event. Yeah, so these are little things that can change, but it's not just about our physical abilities that we are concerned about. There's also the environment when we're thinking intersectionally. So instead of printing flyers and posters, it can be done digitally. And yes, there is a digital footprint, but it is less harmful than printing and papering and flyering. So we can look at these small actions when we're organizing events or festivals, and it does make a difference. Venues, festivals, and promoters can also commit to allocating a number or a percentage of tickets to deaf, disabled, and chronically ill audiences, also neurodivergent audiences. They can actually try to allocate an amount of tickets to the unwaged, single parents, carers, and refugee communities. And this way, like, music has always been a tool for change, right? And we are all aware on how music helps us tackle a lot of things. And by spreading it to the different communities that are marginalized, it is actually very helpful for improving their lives, and that improves the whole society. And again, events and conferences can commit to offer information in different formats, such as hearing, subtitling, and large print. There are many pledge actions that we can share with you, and that you can consider. Everyone knows what their abilities are, and it's important for us to think about it, because sometimes we just get lost in the everyday and in our busy lives, and we forget that we can do things in different ways. And a small action, just like thinking, oh, we're going to add these 2 sentences to describe things like accessibility, can improve somebody's lives. So in terms of our pledge signatories, the majority are actually in the UK, because this is where the pledge started. We have 222 in the UK. Germany has 57 signatories, and then Canada has 41, and those are broken down into 56 associations. There's conferences, 33. There's websites and magazines, promoters, broadcasters, and also people from different parts of the sector. What is important is that in 2022, 64% of our pledge signatories have managed to achieve or surpass their targets. And bear in mind that they have actually helped shape this target that they made, which is amazing because they were conscious that there's a problem. We worked together and they achieved it. The Pledge Action Plan, which we have launched or formulated for everyone to access, was launched in February. You can scan this code and access the action plan on our website. I'm going to give you a few seconds if anyone wants to scan it. Otherwise, you can just find it. Just go onto the website and it is on the main page. The action plan highlights the progress that we have made, but also the challenges that we face. It also talks about the next steps that are required by us to continue the work to reach gender equity in the music industry. Again, there's a QR code here that you can scan to access the full report. We have partnered with Erasmus University in conducting the research, and I think it's 30 pages with some insightful data if you enjoy reading. The main actions of the plan are for us to go beyond gender, that we actually urgently act upon these learnings and findings, that we expand our work to the global community because it is a global problem, and that we also work on education and activism in creating the change and achieving the targets that we all wish to achieve. Here you can see there's a photo of Suna Margaret. She's one of our artist participants. She's on stage, and in the corner you can see her partner with a child. And this is one of the things that we often don't think about in terms of, like, when we book women with children, do we pay them enough to provide for childcare? Do we actually make sure that they are safe getting into their performance venues or conferences or wherever they're going and back if they're happening late at night? So there's a lot of things that we can do together. These are different photos. This is from our full network meetup that we did in Brussels in February. So you can see all of our participants together. And that's it. These are our partners. And I do hope that it made sense. Although it's a bit, there's a lot of information to digest, so I appreciate if you want to take a breath and a little and then think about questions that you might want to ask me. And thank you for listening.
That was incredible. Thanks so much, Chris.